recently I saw this new Japanese film. It's called Perfect Days. And honestly, if I could sum up this movie in one entire sentence, it would be about a normal Japanese guy, like in his mid 50s or 60s, whose job is literally to clean toilets every single day. Like, that's it. That's literally the premise of the entire movie. Like, I feel like we're watching a documentary about a really normal person, a normal human being, and we're just watching his everyday life unfold in front of us. So his name is Hirayama, and every day his routine is the exact same. So before he goes to work, he wakes up and he waters his plants that he has at home. He gets into his work clothes. He goes out, smells the fresh air, and there's literally a vending machine right by his house, which must be really nice. He just gets himself a cup of coffee every single morning. This guy must be living in the past because he still has these old cassette tapes, which are like from the 80s. Like, it's like rock music from the 80s. And he would always listen to this music right before he goes to work. So after he gets his coffee, he puts in his music. He literally goes to toilets around Shibuya, which is like a really popular district in Tokyo. Now you could tell, even as someone who just cleans toilets all day, he really takes pride in his work. Like, he's really meticulous. He does things a certain way to make sure the bathrooms are all clean. Now, as I'm watching this movie, there is one thing that clearly stands out is that this man just does not talk at all. Like, his first line literally does not come until like 30 minutes into the movie. And I think the entire film, he probably only has like a little over a dozen lines. Now, I could be wrong with the exact number, but he didn't speak a lot in this film. Like, his main form of communication was like through hand gestures or just nodding his head. He's obviously really introverted and to himself, and he just goes on about his business. Another thing that I've noticed is that whenever he wakes up every single day before he goes to work, he goes outside his house, he looks up into the sky, and he just smiles. Like, he's a happy person. Now, you would think for someone that just cleans toilets for a living, you would think that they're not happy of where they are, or you would think that other people would judge him for that line of work, but this guy is just happy. He's content with his life, he's content with his work. So I think that's really one of the main messages of the film. You know, life is crazy. We got to be happy with what we have, even if it's the lowest of the low level type of work that we do. As long as we're happy with ourselves and we're happy with our life and we're content, then that's the beauty of it. As long as you're happy, nobody else's opinion matters. Now, speaking of routine, during his lunch break at work, he would always go to this shrine and he would whip out this old camera. Like, I don't know what kind of camera it is, but it's nothing digital for sure. And during his break, he would always take pictures of the trees, like at this shrine. So he really loves trees and peace and nature. I mean, for goodness sake, the man still has a flip phone when he talks to his boss. So he's really not into the modern age of technology. And after work, he would always go to a bathhouse to shower himself off and just relax at a hot tub, which looks, honestly, it just looks really relaxing. So I don't blame the guy. And he ends the day by going home and reading books in his small little apartment. And he has these weird dreams every single night, which I can't even explain. But this is pretty much his daily routine every single day. This is exactly how he does it. And even on his only days off, which is like, I think only one day out of the week, even his day off is super routine. He washes his work clothes. He goes to a camera store to pick up new film, to also pick up his developed pictures. He buys a new book to read at nighttime before he goes to sleep. And he eats at a local restaurant. This is literally his routine on his day off. Like, even his day off, nothing like changes. Everything is just so organized and it's so routine. It's the same thing. I mean, personally, for me, I wouldn't be able to do the same thing on my only days off from work. Like, no. Now, of course, this being a movie, this is not going to repeat like the entire 2 hour duration of this film. So obviously, something has to happen in his life that makes this movie a lot more interesting. And something does happen. His niece, Nico, just shows up out the blue in his life. So apparently Nico ran away from home because she had an argument with her mom, who just happens to be Hirayama's rich sister. So, Hirayama, he's a nice guy. He takes her in and he shows her like the routine of his everyday work life. He shows her that he cleans toilets for a living. He also shows her the shrine where he eats his lunch and takes pictures with his old camera. But you know what's really cool? Not once does Nico ever talk down on him or question like why he's working as a toilet bowl cleaner or why he doesn't have a lot of money. Like not once does she judge him. That just goes to show that she probably does not like her home life at all, despite the fact that she's probably a lot more rich than he is. But unfortunately, all good things must come to an end, and Nico's rich ass mom comes to Hirayama's house to pick her up, and reluctantly she leaves. And of course, Hirayama and the sister, they get into a little bit of an argument because apparently their dad has dementia and he hasn't visited him at all. So that just goes to show you that he doesn't have a really good relationship with his family. And not all of us have a good relationship with our family. That's just life. So before she leaves, Hirayama and the sister, they both embrace each other like brother and sister should. Now, how long this family feud is going to go on, who knows? But even she didn't know that he was a toilet bowl cleaner. Like she asked him, "Do you really clean toilets for a living?" And he just nodded his head, like he didn't give a damn about her opinion. And he shouldn't. Anyway, at the end of the movie, he goes to his usual work routine, and while he's listening to one of his cassette tapes, he starts to show a lot of different emotions. He shows happiness, he cries, he shows sadness. But that just shows that he's just a regular human being. I mean, this entire movie, we've only been watching what he does on a daily basis. Just a normal guy working, going home, and just showing us like his personal hobbies that he does on his off days. That's pretty much the film. Now, of course, for the movie person who's expecting something to happen constantly in this movie, it's probably not going to be for you, frankly. But see, that's the beauty of this film. It is very simplistic. We can even see ourselves in the main character's life. Like, we want happiness. We want a simple life. Every time he wakes up in the morning, he always looks up at the sky and he smiles. Even when he's eating lunch in the park, he looks up through the trees, at the sunlight, and he's always smiling. Why? Because he's happy with his life. He's content with where he is, and he doesn't care what people think of him. That's why he's always smiling despite like the type of job that he has that a lot of people would think is not a good job. But this is what he wants to do and he's good at it. That's why I believe this movie resonates with me, and I'm sure it resonates with a lot of people because life is crazy. Ultimately, all we want is just happiness. That's what we truly need and what we truly want. Now, originally, this movie was actually supposed to be called Komorebi, which literally translates to sunlight through the trees. And as I just mentioned, it goes back to the moments where Hirayama's literally looking up through the trees at the sunlight because it shows that he's happy with his life. That's pretty much the message of the film. You don't need a lot to be happy. Your life can be as simple and routine as it can be, and you could still be okay with it. Like, you don't need a lot going on in order to be fulfilled. I love this movie personally. It spoke to me on a lot of different levels, especially his relationship with his family. Because I also go through those moments where I'm not really on good terms with some of my own family members. So I can totally relate to Hirayama on that level, as I'm sure a lot of you can. Ultimately, this movie was really about the message. You don't need a lot to be happy, okay? Hirayama is content with his life and he cleans toilets for a living, but he's happy. A lot of us have nice paying jobs, big houses, nice cars, but a lot of us are not fulfilled. We're like always depressed. So just because we have a lot inside, it could mean little to us. Thank you guys for watching this video. I really hope you guys go out and watch this movie. Like, the message is really beautiful. It's a really beautiful film and I love the characters. Thank you guys again for watching this video. Until next time, movie lovers. Peace.